It's like one of those things. If you're in class, and the Dolphins seem like this kind of team, you're in class and the teacher tells you it's going to be on the test. You just happen to be asleep during that moment, or you're dozing off during that moment, or you're texting during that moment, and you just kind of miss, hey, if this happens, we can't do this. This is going to be on the test. We can't do it this way. And the Dolphins do things like that. I mean, there's the Tua throw, and how about the roughing the kicker? You stopped them on third down.
2 moments.
It's roughing the punter, excuse me. It's third down. You've stopped them. It's third and long. All you got, you're about to get the ball, and here you come tumbling into the punter. Not even like, oh, excuse me, which would have been fine, because that just would have been running into the punter. No, this was roughing. And you give Buffalo life.
He thought he was going to block the punt. He's 300 pounds. Why did he think he was going to bust through there and block the punt and take that deliberate risk running straight at him, not coming from an angle where you see the guy lay out like that, and if he doesn't block it, he goes right by him. He was coming straight for him. He was 100% confident he was going to block that punt. I'm sorry I interrupted you, but you're right. That's moment that set up the later moment.
Yeah, and Mike, the new meme there, we just showed it. Show it again, clip it. Mike McDaniel, the WTF? Like, what are you doing? What? There it is. That if you want to know the Miami Dolphins season 2025, that's it. 2025 Dolphins in a picture, and it's just. They had so many opportunities. I don't know if they really could have pulled it off. It would take close to a perfect game for the Dolphins to beat the Bills in Buffalo. Not just the losing streak they have against the Bills, but the talent level. And that's the other thing that we haven't mentioned in this conversation. I heard you and Sims talking about the Dolphins and how everything is on Mike McDaniel, or a lot of critics put things on McDaniel. He's right to a degree that a lot of it's not him. A lot of it is above his pay grade. And if you look at these teams last night, yeah, there were some silly errors, self-inflicted errors from the Dolphins. But if I look at who the Dolphins have and who the Bills have, the Bills are much more talented, much more well-constructed than the Dolphins. I don't even think it's all that close. And so when you have a talent disparity like that, and there's a clear talent disparity to me, you can't do things like the Dolphins did last night.
The one thing, though, with the Buffalo Bills, that defense at times is subject to being not pushed around, but picked apart. There was a point where I said to my son, why is Tre'Davious White covering Jalen Waddle? Well, more accurately, why is Tre'Davious White not covering Jalen Waddle? Yeah. And why aren't they throwing the ball to Jalen Waddle every single play? Again, irony. It was a throw to Jalen Waddle that got jumped by Terrell Bernard, and Tre'Davious White was nowhere to be seen on that side of the field. I don't even know if he was on the field for the play, but, Tre'Davious White's a guy that has had great years. He's had injuries, but it was clear he was in over his head last night trying to cover Jalen Waddle. And it was all those gotta-have-it moments where it was crisp, it was confident. There was that one play where they had Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle kind of stacked on one side of the field. I think I'm thinking of the right play.
Yep.
And just the way it developed, there weren't two guys over there. Yeah, there weren't. Yeah. It's like, what the hell are you doing, Buffalo defense? You're not even ready to cover the two guys. All one of them has to do is take that cut to the left, and there's no one there.
Yeah, I know. I think the play you're talking about where they're on the same side. Hill appears to go deep and leaves underneath soft spot for Waddle for an easy reception. And even on a third down, a key third down play where they had to have it, and where Waddle goes in motion, and Trey White couldn't keep up with them. he really, and he's a guy, and you don't want to pick on him too much. He's had a lot of tough luck injuries starting in Buffalo. He was one of their character guys. They really liked him. But you could see that he looked like an old man trying to keep up with Jalen Waddle. It was not a fair fight. So you had a lot of those matchups last night that were in the Dolphins' favor. And I go back to the running game. I think the absence of Ed Oliver really worked to Miami's advantage. They were able, not only were they able to run the ball, they were able to run the ball right up the gut at times with a lot of success. And it wasn't enough for him. It was a very frustrating. If you're a Dolphins fan, that's a very frustrating game for you. That's a winnable game. That's a winnable game on the road against a superior opponent. And you just had too many mistakes that just got you out of it.
Well, and look, I agree with you. I don't want to pick on Tre'Davious White, but literally the Dolphins should have picked on him far much more than they did. That's part of the living, breathing adjustments that a team makes. When you're out there and there's a night where you can tell that there's a disparity, that there's a player out there that isn't holding his own. And I think back to Super Bowl 49. I can't remember the name of the defensive back for the Seahawks that broke his arm, but there was a guy, and it was one of those ugly, please don't show that again, arm fractures. And the next man up wasn't good enough. What did Tom Brady do the rest of the game? He picked on that guy. And that's what the Dolphins needed to do last night. And that's an operational flaw. Sure, ideally, you'd like your quarterback to understand that and be able to implement it and not just stick to the script. But the sideline, someone needs to say, hey, man, we need to go at 27. We need to isolate 27 and go at him all night long. We want to win this game. That's what we need to do. We'll gain yards. We'll score points. We'll win the game, or at least have a better chance at doing it. When the defense has a guy out on the field who is overmatched, that's what you take advantage of. You got 11 guys on each side, and if one guy on the defensive side is a weakness, you got to take advantage of it. And I don't feel like they did nearly enough. And then to Jalen Waddle when he wasn't being covered by him, and that was that. It's just that you're right. That's the Dolphins. Like when it feels like it's going well, something happens. Whether it's the block punt, roughing the block punt attempt that results in roughing the punter, or the interception, and that's it. The two moments. The one moment giveth with the Matt Prater WTF field goal, and then the 2 moments in the second half taketh away when it looked like the Dolphins had a chance to win the game.
Yeah, and they would have to do that because as much as I'm saying, hey, the Dolphins had opportunities, Buffalo at times, even though it was a close game, Buffalo at times made it look easy. Didn't you get the sense last night, if you're watching the game with your son, did either of you say, if the Bills wanted to have James Cook get a 200-yard rushing game, they could? You get the sense that if they gave him the ball 35 times last night, he could have had an NFL record. I mean, he made it look so easy, even when they stopped it. Every time they stopped him, it was a shoestring. It was just tripping him up. It looked like he was on the verge of really 7 or 8 big runs, and he got his touchdown, and he had a fine yards per carry average, but even when they were struggling, so to speak, they looked like at any time they could turn it on against Miami if they really wanted to.
Well, and I hadn't thought of this until you said it. It almost looked at times like a let's put stuff on film game. Like, let's just do some different things, give some different looks, run some different plays, where there wasn't that urgency that we saw 12 days ago when they were down 15 points in the fourth quarter. Let's go, let's go, let's go. It was just kind of very surgical and patient. And I think there was a confidence that at the end of the day, this is going to work out. We don't need to win by 40. We don't need to get Mike McDaniel fired tonight. We don't need to get Chris Greer fired tonight. We don't need to embarrass the Dolphins. We just need to outscore them, and we will. In time, we will. Now, the defense made it more interesting than it needed to be. Credit to the Miami offense. Credit to the Dolphins team for not giving up. but I never felt like the Buffalo offense was operating with that kind of urgency. It just was very, like cat and mouse. And we're just kind of playing around here, and we're just showing different looks and doing different things because we still got 14 more games to play this season. And we're not going to empty the tank with all of our best stuff against a team that we don't need to.
Yeah, they've reached that point where a lot of great teams, and I'll call them a great team, even though they haven't won a Super Bowl. I think they are a great team. They're the class of the AFC East by far, and they've reached that point where, winning the division is an expectation for them. Like at the beginning of the program, you get excited. You haven't won the division in a while. You haven't made the playoffs in a while. So, hey, we won the division, and you hold on to that division title hat a little tighter than you should, and you wear it a little longer than you should. It's just a one division title, but it's a big deal to you. They're so past that point, and they expect to overwhelm Miami, New England, and the Jets. They just do. They'll find a way against those teams, even if they're not on their game. So now it's like it's something bigger, and right now it's not only you say putting things on tape. It's almost like pace. We're gonna pace ourselves. Now nobody can say that out loud. You're not supposed to say that in the NFL. It's all about today, and any opponent can beat you. But we'll ramp up. But right now we're gonna pace ourselves on a Thursday night. We played on Sunday. We're still a little sore from that. Now we're playing on Thursday against a team that we usually beat, and we know we're gonna beat them, even though we're not playing our best game.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.